G'day folks, welcome to another 4X Adventures adventure. On this trip, I'm heading to the largest sand island in the world, Fraser Island. Fraser Island is located just off the east coast of Australia. It lies 1,200 kilometres north of Sydney and 300 kilometres north of Brisbane. Access to the island is via car and passenger ferry, which departs from the township of River Heads. A return trip for a standard size four-wheel drive costs around $180. The journey to Fraser Island takes around 1 hour. The ferry arrives at Kingfisher Bay Resort. Access to the rest of the island is strictly via four-wheel drive. In this series, I will be spending 1 week exploring Fraser Island. We will see some of the most iconic and beautiful places on the island, but also we will get to experience the island in its many varied weather conditions. Everything from bright blue sky to overcast to torrential downpour. We will get to experience rainforests the way they were meant to be experienced, in the rain. So stay tuned. So it's 4:30 p.m. and we have just docked at Fraser Island. Today's drive will be relatively short because tonight I'm staying at the resort and tomorrow morning we hit the island properly. This is really cool. We drive onto the island along this old wooden jetty. Oh, I've missed this place. It's been 3.5 years since I was last here. And it's a beautiful day. It's 20 degrees, blue skies, crystal clear water. Just wonderful, magical. I'm really looking forward to exploring the island. And I am now officially on Fraser Island. So now it's just a really quick drive to the resort. I'm going to check in. I've got a room tonight, and the rest of the week I'll be driving around the island camping. So this will be a whole lot of fun. Well, good morning everyone. Today is a brand new day. I am just at the start of the track that takes us to the other side of Fraser Island. And the first thing we need to do is let the tyres down. So we'll need to go down to 20 psi as a starting point. My standard road pressures are 40, so let's go. Okay, let's hit the road. I've just lowered the tyre pressures to about 20 psi on all 4 tyres. Back to about 22, the front ones are 20. And let's hit the tracks. Now that beeping you hear is a tyre pressure monitor telling me that tyres are far too low, so unplug the thing. I don't need it anymore. And here we go. So I'm in four-wheel drive mode, low range, and just gently rolling down the track. Over the next few days, we will be exploring the middle section of Fraser Island. This contains many of the most iconic and beautiful places to be found. Today we are heading off from Kingfisher Bay, crossing to the eastern side of the island, with our first stop being Lake Mackenzie. Now the trick to sand driving, especially when it's really soft sand like this, is to not fight the steering wheel. In fact, I can let go of the steering wheel entirely and the steering wheel will just steer by itself. I'm not touching the steering wheel, and the tyres hit the edges of the ruts on the tracks and the car will steer itself. So the trick is to take it nice and slow. I'm driving at about 20 k's an hour and there's no rush. It's a beautiful day and just happy to take my time and enjoy the scenery. So Fraser Island is 123 kilometres long, 22 kilometres wide, and it's made entirely of sand. Now, you might be wondering where all this sand came from. Well, interestingly, it was washed up the coast from New South Wales, specifically from the Hunter and Hawkesbury regions of New South Wales. There's a special effect that essentially the sediment gets washed out to sea, but then the wind blows it back into the shore and it gets squeezed up the coast, and it got as far as Fraser Island. Well, there was a reef here and it settled and it collected here, and over a long period of time it grew into what you have today. The sand has been accumulating for 750,000 years. The highest point on the island is 244 metres above sea level, and the sand goes all the way down to the bedrock, several hundred metres below sea level. So in order to drive on Fraser Island, you need a permit, like this. And that needs to be displayed on your vehicle. I think the permit was somewhere around $53, $55, something like that. Of course you need a proper four-wheel drive, and by proper four-wheel drive I mean a four-wheel drive with low range gears and high clearance. An all-wheel drive will not cut it. It'll just start spinning its wheels and sink into the sand, and no, you need a proper four-wheel drive. You need a good set of all-terrain tyres and an air compressor so that you can blow the tyres back up once you've let them down. And that's it. Max Tracks are an optional extra, but I highly recommend Max Tracks. And that's all you need to visit Fraser Island. The other thing you can do is you can fly here and hire a four-wheel drive on the island. But a lot of people choose to bring their own cars to the island, like I have. It's $180 return trip on the car ferry, and the car ferry leaves from Riverheads, and it takes about an hour to make the crossing over to Fraser Island. Oh, looks like we have some people in trouble. Now, these tracks are generally fairly easy to drive, but the soft sand can be deceptive, and this could be one situation where an all-wheel drive may have some trouble getting through. Getting bogged is all part of the fun of four-wheel driving. It happens to everyone at least once. I'd better back up to give them some room. The good thing about the four-wheel driving community is when somebody is in trouble, everyone jumps out to lend a hand. Of course, that could also be because no one wants to be stuck behind someone else's stuck. G'day, how you going?
Pretty good. Sorry about this, man.
No, that's okay.
You probably got places you want to be.
No, that's alright. Got all the time in the world.
This is the first time they've been on.
Yep.
The island.
Do you want some Max Tracks?
Do you have them?
Up on the roof, yeah.
Ooh, that might help, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please, bro. Sorry about this.
That's okay, it happens.
Yeah. Go, 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 go. Keep going.
Oh, hey! Oh. Will you lower your tyre pressures?
Yeah, they're lowered.
Had the handbrake on.
Are you fucking serious?
Well, have a good day. I hope it doesn't happen again.
I hope so. Well, you'll probably be behind us anyway. So.
Probably.
Alright, sorry about this, man.
That's okay.
Cheers.
No worries. Okay, so the people in front of me, first time they've been on the island. I'm not exactly sure, I can't tell what kind of vehicle it is. They've apparently lowered their tyre pressures, but they got stuck in this soft bit of mud here, soft bit of sand here. So I'm just waiting for them to all get back in the vehicle now. Essentially, driving in soft sand, it's all about momentum. So don't see, that was just straight through the part that they got stuck in. So when you start from a standing point, ease off really slowly. Just drive off slowly. Don't be heavy-footed, because when you are heavy-footed, you will spin and you just dig yourself deeper into the sand. So easy set off and easy stop. And once you're going, just have that momentum. And see, I'm not going super fast. I'm going less than 20 k's an hour now. Really just rolling along. But that's all you need. Here's a turn off. Let's see. Lake Mackenzie, Central State. Yeah, this way. Yeah. So it is really quite easy driving. I was last here 3.5 years ago, and this was actually the very first place that I drove off-road, like proper off-road, proper soft sand driving. I had just bought this four-wheel drive, and this was my first proper off-road trip in this vehicle. And so me and some friends came up to Fraser Island, and I was completely green. I didn't know a thing about how to use this car, and I was driving way too fast. Yep.
Another reason why you should drive very slowly. The tracks sometimes have these areas for pulling aside and letting oncoming traffic pass. The oncoming traffic is a convoy of 5 cars, so in this case I'm going to pull aside and let them pass. Of course, try not to tip over.
Is that enough for him? Yeah. Cheers. Okay. So, as I was saying, I last came to Fraser Island about 3.5 years ago, and I was completely green. I didn't know how to drive a four-wheel drive off-road, specifically in soft sand, and that was my introduction to soft sand driving. I did a lot of things wrong. I did let the tyres down, but half of this track I actually did in two-wheel drive back then, because the car wasn't properly in four-wheel drive mode. Yeah, and I was going far too fast, so I've learnt my lesson since then, and look, I'm just rolling along at 20 k's an hour. Not a problem in the world. We're just coming up to Lake Mackenzie right now.
Lake Mackenzie is one of the most popular tourist attractions on the island. From the car park, the lake is just a short stroll down a bush track. This is Lake Mackenzie. It is a beautiful picture postcard perfect oasis in the middle of Fraser Island. This is the largest of about 100 lakes on the island, but this lake is unique. The beautiful fresh water in the lake comes from 100% rainwater. It is crystal clear and the purest water you could find anywhere. The blue colour of the lake comes from the fact that the water is slightly acidic. And the sand is 98% pure silica. It is squeaky clean and absolutely beautiful. This is a tropical paradise. I haven't seen any dingoes yet. I remember on my last trip we saw one single dingo, and it was a very, very skinny, pathetic looking dingo at that. You could see its ribs. It looked malnourished. But apparently the dingoes aren't malnourished, they have plenty to eat. In fact, feeding dingoes only encourages them to become more aggressive towards us. So feeding them is strongly, strongly discouraged. So we've left Lake Mackenzie and we are heading now to the Pile Valley. The Pile Valley is special because it contains a rainforest. This is the Pile Valley. It is a rainforest in the middle of Fraser Island. And it's absolutely beautiful. It is so peaceful. This rainforest contains 1,000-year-old rough-barked saturnae trees. It also has kauri pines and lots of different species of gum and eucalypt. It's absolutely amazing. The interesting thing about this rainforest is there's no soil. The trees grow directly right out of the sand, and the only soil that exists is a tiny little bit on the top, maybe a centimetre or so in thickness, which is the decomposing leaf litter. But apart from that, not only do these trees grow straight out of the sand, but they thrive. Apparently the sand contains microbes which fuel the trees. Absolutely beautiful. Well, just look at the size of this stump. I'm inside a tree. It feels really cozy, actually. It feels really woody and a little bit damp. It's incredible to think how long these trees have been growing for. Some of them are hundreds of years old, and some of them are 1,000 years old. It's amazing. Imagine what was happening in the world 1,000 years ago. You know what? Now that I think about it, the world isn't that different after all. 1,000 years ago we would have had the Black Death or bubonic plague. Well, not only is that still around, but now we have COVID-19, so these trees have seen everything. Amazing place. Well, as beautiful as this place is, there are also many things that want to kill you. 3 of those things are the eastern brown snake, the death adder, and the taipan. Now, these 3 snakes happen to be some of the most deadliest snakes in the world. So, if you come here, I recommend don't go wandering off into the forest. Don't go picking up logs and looking around things. Just stay on the tracks and you'll be right. Well, time to head on. Let's go hit the beach.
We are now making our way from the Pile Valley to the beach at Eurong. It really has been the most perfect day. Beautiful blue sky, amazing scenery, and interesting tracks to drive on. You can really hear the suspension working. But it's doing exactly what it should be doing. It's giving me a nice, smooth, comfortable ride. Okay, that was a bit rough. It's always interesting to see how the car handles when it's fully loaded. The car is not bouncing up and down. That means the shocks have been set correctly. It's such a nice change, swapping the red dirt of the outback with some sand and rainforest. I'm really enjoying this drive. So it's almost 11 AM and the weather is absolutely perfect. No breeze, beautiful blue skies, 16 degrees. It could not get any better.
This is one of the most dangerous beaches in the world.
In the next episode, I go for a drive on the beach. I go for a drive on the rocks. And I find a shipwreck.